So this is how to sow and grow cucumbers. Now, cucumbers are a great crop to grow. They're fairly easy and they can be really, really productive when they're happy. And they come in a really surprisingly broad range of colours and shapes and sizes, much more than the standard green cucumber that we're used to seeing in the supermarket. Now, there are basically two types of cucumber. You've got indoor or greenhouse cucumbers that will produce almost exclusively female flowers. They don't need to be pollinated in order to produce fruit. And in fact, if they do get pollinated, tends to be that fruit can taste bitter. And then you've got outdoor varieties, which are hardier and, as the name suggests, designed to be grown out of doors. And on those plants, you get a mix of both female and male flowers. And the female flowers do need pollination in order to produce fruit. So check the seed packet and make sure that you're selecting the variety that works best for where you want to grow your cucumbers. So you want to start your cucumbers off in March or April kind of time. That's earlier for the greenhouse varieties if you're going to be growing them indoors, and towards the end of that period if your cucumbers are filled outdoors. So it's best to start cucumbers off in small pots. This is a 9cm pot and it's ideal for starting them off in. You want to fill it with compost to around 1 centimetre below the rim and just give it a tap to make sure you've got rid of any air pockets that are in there. Now, I like to sow 2 seeds per pot. You tend to get fairly good germination on a cucumber, so you may well find that you have 2 little plants growing out of there, but you're just making sure that you've got the best chance of getting germination across everything that you sow. And you want to push them down to around 2nd knuckle or so on your finger. And what you can do is when you're sowing the 2nd seed in the pot, if you space it apart from the other one, it means that if you want to, you can carefully ease that plant out if both of them germinate, plant it up in a separate pot, and it can be an extra cucumber plant for you if you want. Once you've got the seeds in there, just add a little bit more compost on top just to cover them and give it a water. Now, cucumbers like heat, so keep them warm in order to germinate them. And as you're growing them on, make sure you keep them in a relatively warm, very sunny position and keep them moist. Cucumbers are largely made of water. They need loads of it in order to really succeed. So make sure you're always keeping them really well watered. As your cucumbers grow on, keep an eye on the bottom of the pots. As roots start to appear out of the holes in the bottom of the pots, that's a sign that you need to start potting it on. Move them up in pot size until it's time to plant them out. And you want to be planting your plants out probably around May time after all risk of frost has passed. And remember that almost all types of cucumber are climbing plants. There are a few trading cucumbers, but the majority of them are climbers. And therefore you need to make sure they've got something to climb. They're going to need support of some kind, whether that's a cane or a trellis or an arch or something like that. And then as your cucumbers grow on, all you need to do is make sure, one, they're nice and moist because they're going to continue to want that water. And second of all, keep picking them. The more cucumbers you pick, the more the plant's going to produce. And you should have absolutely loads of cucumbers from midsummer well into autumn on a mild year. So if you want to try growing cucumbers and you want to see some of the more interesting varieties that are out there, check what we've got in the seed range. We have some really exciting options for you in our ever-growing range, and that's on shegrowsveg.com.